What up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of AC Reviews the World, and it's episode 34. Yep, it's episode 34 now, and it is August 26th, and it's a little bit after 6 a.m. Got a little started a little later today, but hey, we still on track and we still pushing it hard. We got a couple of things to go over today. Well, a good amount of things to go over today. We got to get the updates on the ex-wife killer who shot his ex-wife in Henry Ford, or supposedly shot his ex-wife in Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit. So we got updates on that. We got some missing kids who might have been killed by their parents. We got to talk about that stuff. We got a lot of stuff. Women pouring sulfuric acid on their husbands. Yeah, we got some juicy things or some crazy things to talk about today. But at the end of the day, we always just trying to review the world together and get everything. Just get all the information we can. But like always, if you disagree with anything I said, please go ahead and let me know, because the main thing I want with this channel is for us to have a discussion, good discussion. No, we don't no name calling, anything like that. Just tell me how you feel and I'll tell you how I feel. Simple as that. But without further ado, you know how I like to do. I like to jump right into it. Let's jump right into it. The first thing we're going to get over into is the ex-wife killer. So the ex-wife killer has been arrested, and he has given a not guilty plea in court. So we're going to get over into that. We got a few videos to watch, or two videos to watch. One where he's getting arrested, and the other where he pleads not guilty. But let's jump right into it and see what it's talking about.
Story tonight, the suspect behind a deadly shooting at a Detroit hospital now in custody. Thank you so much for joining us for 7 News Detroit at 7. I'm Whitney Burney. Detroit police making the arrest of 53-year-old Mario Green overnight. DPD tells 7 News Detroit he was arrested near East Warren Avenue and LeMay on the city's east side. Police say Green walked into Henry Ford Hospital on West Grand Boulevard around 10 o'clock yesterday morning, where he shot and killed his ex-wife, Latricia Green. 7 News Detroit reporter Faraz Javed tells us how DPD managed to take him into custody.
In less than 24 hours, the manhunt is over for 53-year-old Mario Green, accused of gunning down his ex-wife inside Henry Ford Hospital's main campus in Detroit Friday morning. Now, Green was arrested on the city's east side in this neighborhood, LeMay and Warren, just before 3 Saturday morning.
Did you ever think that the next day you'd wake up and to hear just that the person was apprehended on the street?
Yeah, no, not this close to me, no. No, that's very unsettling.
Reginald Clark lives in the neighborhood just 15 minutes away from the hospital where the shooting took place. A tragic incident he had been following as it unfolded.
It was very shocking.
He was still around.
And very relieving that they got him off the streets.
In a statement, Detroit Police Chief Todd Bettison said in part, "Our officers worked tirelessly to get this monster off the street. We have the best police department across the country. And I would like to thank our law enforcement partners who assisted us in apprehending Mario Green, along with the community who gave us numerous tips about the suspect. No person deserves what happened to Miss Latricia Green, and my heart and prayers go out to her family." After the lockdown ended at the hospital, we spoke to some of the people who knew the victim.
She never did nothing to nobody. She was a nice, generous person.
She was magnificent. She was more than a friend. She was a mother. She was a wife. She did her job.
Police say Friday morning, just before 10, Mario entered the hospital, proceeded to the basement where his ex-wife, 40-year-old Latricia Green, worked, and fatally shot her multiple times. Soon after, he fled the scene in a white Dodge Charger. A few hours later, the multi-jurisdictional manhunt led the police to Detroit's west side, where Mario's car was found abandoned in a neighborhood off Losser just south of 8 Mile. But Mario was nowhere to be found till Saturday morning.
He was such a sweet person. Like, she didn't deserve what happened to her at all.
She was a woman crying out for help.
The victim's cousins also shared that Latricia's problems started many months ago when she was being harassed and stalked by her ex-husband. Court records show they divorced in 2018.
As early as last week, a friend of mine had told me that he followed her home from work and ran her off the road. So she went and made another police report.
The Channel 7 news team uncovered that Latricia filed a personal protection order twice against Mario. The first one was on June 13th of this year, which was denied. The second was filed in July and approved, but police say the order was never served to Mario. From the east side, I'm Faraz Javed, 7.
Yep. So like we talked about before, she did file 2 PPOs. The first one was denied. The second one was approved, but it seems like that to go through the process, she would have had to pay or get someone to serve it. And I'm assuming that costs money, but it was never served. But at the end of the day, would it have helped anything? Would it have done anything? If somebody was already running you off the road and was willing to go into a hospital and kill you, would the PPO have done anything? I highly doubt it. Truly highly doubt it. But at the end of the day, women, please protect yourselves. Please. If you're in a state where you can carry, please carry. If you need to make, I don't know if she let her work know or not, but something should have been done where he couldn't have gotten into the building. Just be proactive and not reactive. That's the main thing that I've always thought about. Just make sure you be proactive instead of reactive. But the next thing we're gonna get into is the arrest, or is the plea. He plead not guilty in court. So let's jump right over into that and see how he plead not guilty. Absolutely crazy, but let's get into it.
Hi, what's your name, sir? Mario Green. Thank you. This will be case 25059-589, State of Michigan versus Mario Dwayne Green, counsel.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. APA Larry King for the people, P78774.
Judge Philip Reid, on behalf of Mario Green, we would waive the formal reading, stand mute. He has been advised of his constitutional rights.
Court will enter not guilty plea on your client's behalf as to bond.
Your Honor, the people request bond in this matter be set at remand. Michigan Court Rule 6.106 permits remand in cases where the defendant is charged with murder. In this case, it's alleged that the defendant entered a hospital full of workers, civilians, and people being treated for medical issues, and in that hospital sought out his ex-wife at her office and fired a shot, killing her. Your Honor, this is a horrific charge. It's first-degree premeditated murder. He is facing potential life in prison. Based on the nature of the charges, the potential threat to the safety, and the fact that he ran, he hid, he had to be searched out by police over the course of several days with the assistance of several law enforcement agencies. I think he's an unreasonable risk of safety to the community and poses a flight risk. The people are requesting remand. Your Honor, if the court is not inclined to remand the defendant, we would request $1 million cash bond with GPS tether house arrest.
All right. So, I don't like to stop it too much, but first thing, remand sounds completely necessary to me. I don't see why a judge would say, oh no, let's give him some bond. Nah, this man snuck into the hospital, killed his ex-wife, and hid for a day. Nah, send him to jail, let him stay in there till his court date, and then I don't know how he's pleading not guilty, but let's keep going.
Thank you.
Judge, I did speak with Mr. Green in depth. We are asking the court for some type of nominal bond and anything other than a remand, Your Honor.
All right. Well, the allegations here are as serious as they get in this state. First degree premeditated murder, and particularly the details of the allegations are just horrendous. Court does find Mr. Green poses a danger to the community as well as the seriousness of the offense. Court will remand Mr. Green to the custody of Wayne County Sheriff's pending further hearings in this matter. Next court dates are September 4, probable cause conference, and September 11, preliminary exam. Both of those are in front of Judge Jakay here in 36th District Court. Anything else for this record?
No, Your Honor, nothing further from the people. Thank you.
Go to remand. There we go.
Nothing further.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Thank you, sir. You can step aside.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Give it up for that judge. Give it up for that judge. Yes, that's the only logical bond that I could see is no bond and just remand it to the prison or remand it to the. Oh my God! If they would have let him out, I don't care how much bond they give him, ankle monitor, anything like that. Come on now, he's gonna run. He already ran once. He's gonna run it again. But absolutely crazy. They said their next, they got the next stuff is going on September 4th or around 9th. I believe that's what they said. But absolutely crazy. I wonder what's the reason he's pleading, how he's gonna get away from taking the charge. He's pleading not guilty. What is the reason he's pleading not guilty? He's saying that he didn't shoot his wife? Is that just wasn't him, or what is happening? But like I said, like I always say, tell me how you feel about it. Tell me how much time you think he should get. That's the real question. How much time do you think he should get? I mean, in my opinion, hey, keep him in there for life. That's what needs to happen. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This man killed his ex-wife after stalking her, abusing her for however long before. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. And she said it too. She said it that she's filing this PPO because she's scared of what he could do in the future or what can happen in the future. And look what happened. Look what happens. But that is Mario Green, everybody, 54 years old. Ex-wife, a 40-year-old. Ladies, choose your partners carefully. But, I mean, could you actually tell? Maybe he wasn't like this in the beginning. Most of the time they aren't. It's when they get comfortable. But absolutely crazy, everybody. Absolutely crazy. And it's still tragic. We got to pray for the family. Pray for everybody involved. Well, not everybody involved. We pray for the people who are suffering. We don't pray for him. He know what he did, and he knows where he's going to go at the end of his life. But absolutely crazy, everybody. Absolutely crazy. Now I want to pivot a little bit over into, so I like to get into after this some natural disasters. Well, I don't know if it's would it be considered a natural disaster? I think so. A dust storm. So a dust storm is happening currently in Phoenix. Oh, get that out of here. Get that out of here. See, I'm messing up already. It's happening in Phoenix. A dust storm is happening in Phoenix. So I'm gonna watch a little bit of that video and see what it's talking about. I've never actually seen a dust storm in person, so I not on the South Carolina where I am. That's not something I witnessed. Well, let's get over into that.
Fascinating to see this wall of dust continue on. Let's take you right now out to our Fox 10 team. As you can just see, just some of the images on the road. They're warning people to stay off the roads right now due to this wall of dust moving through that area. This is just so kind of fascinating to see, profound to see as this major dust storm hitting the Phoenix area. Let's take you out to our Fox 10 team as they are covering this in full.
We are right in the middle of this dust storm. So take a look there, the wind blowing the trees. We've got people who are doing what they should do, pulling over. We're going really slow here in our car. You can see that there is not much visibility. You can't see, it's even hard to tell how far in the distance you can see. At times you can see some of the trees coming up, but for the most part, really hard to tell what's in front of us and what's coming, and there's no end in sight. So what we're doing, what this car is doing next to us, going really slow if you're already out on the roadways is what you need to do, or pulling over, especially if you are in an area that you don't have, you're not about to just pull into your driveway or take, a really short trip. You need to be pulling over. So hopefully that's what this car in front of us is doing. We've seen some other cars doing it. Things just blowing in front of the car. We've seen a lot of debris heading toward our windshield. Take a look at this, though. This is a perfect example, this car right here, of what you should be doing right now. So they are pulling over. You just need to stay out of this area. But again, we're heading toward the 10 on Arizona Avenue right now, getting hit really hard with it. So this is where the heart of this is.
Yeah. Now, have anybody ever been in a dust storm before? I have not even thought about it, but yeah, I wonder, does it hurt? That's the.
I want to consider pulling over as well.
Yeah,
because visibility is really down.
Yeah, we're gonna take a little break from driving so that we can be safe. But we wanted to show you guys a little bit of what it looked like, and we'll be back and check in a little bit later.
Okay.
Sounds good, Nicole. Thank you.
Let's take a look up top at what Nicole is in. Sky Fox.
Well, meteorologist Erica Horvatine, she's been on this, tracking it for us all evening long. So we'll take a look here at the radar, Erica.
Yeah, so we've been watching the storms come in from the south, and we have a ton of rain. And from those strong and even earlier severe storms, we've seen this outflow boundary pushing north ahead of the rain. And that's what's led to this massive haboob that's pushing toward the valley. So there is currently a dust storm warning that includes the valley. And this will be from Saskatoon up through pretty much the entire East Valley to around Fountain Hills. It does include downtown Phoenix and even central Phoenix, and it goes west out to around Avondale. This polygon is where we're expecting to see that blowing dust, but it will likely start to disperse a bit as it moves northward into the valley, especially as it starts getting caught up on some of our mountains like South Mountain or the Estrella Mountains, things like that. But this is until 5:45, so that is another 40 minutes from now. And by that time, we are expecting to see the dust already have been making it through your area if you are within that polygon. So here I have the correlation coefficient. Sounds a little crazy, but what it means is that you can see in those red colors where there's low correlation, that means we're seeing a bunch of rain in those areas. And you can also make out other boundaries and things where there may be things like dust. So we are currently seeing that line of dust where I just put that red line there, and that extends from out around the pretty much out toward the Boynton Arboretum all the way up. Now you're seeing that through the Queen Creek area and pushing up toward Apache Junction. Follow that line. We're starting to see that dust coming a little bit closer to Chandler at this time, and then it does make its way up toward around Sun Lakes. So this line is going to keep pushing northward. Visibility is going to keep lowering along the 10 as we go through the next hour. And here's a look at the timing of arrival of that initial line of dust. And these are estimates because I'm not sure the exact speed it's moving, but based off of my estimate, that would bring this into Chandler by around 5:12, and that is just about another 8 minutes or so. Gilbert by around 5:16, Mesa by 5:26, Phoenix by around 5:42, and Fountain Hills by around 5:46. And those.
Okay, well, we got the gist of what's happening, but basically, what is a dust storm? That was my first question because I've never seen one. I got the premise of what a dust storm is just because it's in the name, a dust storm. But so basically, just quick Google search. A dust storm is a strong turbulent wind event that lifts large amount of dust and sand particles into the atmosphere, often forming a massive wall of debris that can span for miles and reach thousands of feet high. These storms are triggered by strong winds, such as those from thunderstorms that erode dry, loose soil, with the winds carrying the particles in suspense. And what is that? Saltation. What is saltation? I've never heard of saltation. Dust storms can significantly reduce visibility, cause tragic accidents, trigger respiratory and cardiovascular health issues, and damage infrastructure. How many people have died? That's the good question. How many died from dust storms? That's a good question. Real quickly. There's no single global number for dust storm fatalities. Okay. But studies in the United States estimate around 232 deaths from windbound dust events between 2007 and 2017. This figure is revealed in a 2023 study published by the Bulletin of American Meteorological Society. So 232 deaths from 2007 to 2017. Now tell me, y'all, if y'all have ever witnessed any dust storms or anything like that. How was it? Does it hurt? I don't understand. I don't know if it's like you're getting beaten by rocks or something like that. Like absolutely crazy. But that was something interesting that I've never seen before. I've never seen trying to think of back to the news and stuff like that. Yeah, I can't really think of any time I've seen them talk about dust storm. Just something I've never witnessed. But tell me if you witnessed it, y'all. Tell me your thoughts about it. Have you ever been caught in one before? Was it just like a normal day and just a strong wind with you needed to cover your eyes and mouth? Just tell me how it was. But so with that was just a little something I wanted to talk about. But we're gonna pivot now. We got to talk about high school. So Maryville High School. It was a stabbing and a kid died. Yes, I said it. There was a stabbing at Maryville High School in Arizona, and a kid died. So we got a few videos to watch with that, and just to see what it's all about. So, like always, you just got to pray for the parents and the kids. I don't understand why. Might be something in the air now, but more kids are stabbing each other, especially in schools. But absolutely crazy. Let's get into it.
And welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andrew Kraft. Well, we start off this hour with a really, really tragic, terrible story out of the Phoenix area. Live picture there over downtown Phoenix. Take a look at this. This is what we know. Officials with the Arizona Department of Education saying that one student is dead following a stabbing there at a Phoenix high school today. Police say there are no longer any threats to students or staff members. And so we've been listening to some of these Phoenix officials, including Mayor of Phoenix, Kate Gallego, update us on this, on the scene. This was just from last hour. Let's listen.
Here, I'm Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego. I wish we were here under different circumstances. Today, we lost a high school student at school. Schools should be safe places. Our thoughts and prayers are with the families of those impacted, the educators, the students. It's a top priority to work closely to make sure that we can make schools as safe as possible. I'm thankful to the first responders who responded quickly. We want to thank all of the partners. We have a deep partnership with Phoenix Union High School District. The superintendent is here with us today. The city council and I have let her know that we're committed to being strong partners to the school district, and that the community and the school district will work together to make sure that we do everything we can to keep our students safe. I'm also a mom, like every other parent tomorrow. It'll be a hard moment to drop a kid off at school. And so to the parents out there, know that we are working as hard as we can to make sure that schools are as safe as possible. We're thankful to the Phoenix Police Department for responding, and we'll continue to work closely with the community to get more and more information out there as it becomes available. This corner is represented by two councilwomen who are also parents of school-age children. I'm pleased to introduce one of them now who really focuses on school safety, Councilwoman Betty Guardado.
First thing, I don't like to stop it too much, but unless the kid was fearing for his life, the other kid had a weapon or something like that, I don't agree with any kind of stabbing or anything like that. I don't care if he was bullied or anything like that. You need to tell someone. I don't think you should just take his life. Yes, no one should be bullied, of course, but at the end of the day, go talk to somebody. Hey, if they don't stop it, then just don't. Then, hey, yeah, I don't think stabbing someone to death just is not reasonable to me. But I remember back in school, I just wasn't. You wouldn't think this back when I was back in school, especially in high school. I wouldn't think that a stabbing would happen or a shooting. We did drills for it, but it just never crossed my mind. That's crazy. Let's keep going.
And back out live there to the Phoenix skyline. So wanted to let you listen to Mayor of Phoenix, Kate Gallego. We also have some of our Fox 10 Phoenix reporters standing by not too far from the scene, including Fox 10 Phoenix reporter Kenzie Beach. She's been out there all day covering this extremely tragic story. She joins me. Kenzie, thanks for being with us. This is a really tough one here. What more are we learning at this hour? Do we know who these students were, how this all started?
Yeah, so we don't know the identity of these two students, but we do know that it's two male students. It started as some sort of fight or altercation. We don't know what they were arguing over, but we know that these students stabbed each other. And as you've been reporting, a student died here at Maryvale High School over my right shoulder. But I do also want to touch on just how much emotion and distress you could see in parents' eyes as they flooded the perimeters of Maryvale High School. Today, parents tell me that they got a text message that said they were on lockdown, but did not really include any other information, stressing that parents stay home. But parents did the opposite, as they wanted to be here and make sure their children were safe. So it was about a 2-hour lockdown here at Maryvale High School before a lot of these students were reunited with their parents. But unfortunately, one student died here at Maryvale today.
Well, see, she gave us some good information. So it was a fight, and it sounded like they both stabbed each other. Absolutely.
Of the Phoenix Union Governing Board and the Phoenix Union High School District, I would like to say that we are heartbroken in response to the senseless tragedy that took place today at Maryvale High School.
A chaotic scene at Maryvale High School. Tuesday morning, the school placed on a 2-hour lockdown after a deadly stabbing.
Texted me and said, "Mom, something happened at school. We're on lockdown." I said, "I'm coming."
It was a fight between two male students. They were both stabbed and taken to the hospital, where one of them died. The school did not release much information to parents, but told them to stay home. Instead, worried parents flooded the school's perimeter.
Not until I see him will I know he's okay.
It's just like you can't even do nothing. I feel like go inside and get them. But it's just, and I had 2 kids in there.
Families cried and embraced as they were reunited.
I mean, even having to send that message is something that I thought would never have to do. Desperate for you to not know, because he wasn't answering me, and I'm like, and I was texting her, "Where's your brother? I need you to be with your brother." "Mom, I can't." I'm like, it's desperate. At that moment, you just think you're me.
Some parents were vocal, wanting to pull their kids from Maryvale High after multiple incidents like this.
It's traumatizing, and like I said, after this, I'm done with this school.
I have to make sure he's safe first, and this isn't looking good anymore.
Absolutely crazy. I wonder what the charge is going to be. They're going to have to figure out who provoked, who started the altercation. If one of them was only reacting to the other, pulling out a knife. But what did they get stabbed with? Did they both have knives? See, there's so many questions.
Now, there's been a lot of questions about metal detectors. There are metal detectors here at Maryvale High School. I spoke to over dozens of students that left here today, telling me that the one student was stabbed by scissors in the classroom. Now, that has not been confirmed with the Phoenix Police Department, but many of those students believe it was not something that was brought onto the campus, but rather scissors inside of the classroom.
Makes sense.
Kenzie, just a quick question. What's the schedule look like for students throughout the remainder of the week here? Is class canceled tomorrow?
That is a great question that a lot of parents are still wondering. We've heard that classes may be canceled tomorrow. But as for the rest of the week, right now, we do not have an answer about that.
All right, Kenzie Beach there live for us with Fox 10 Phoenix outside Maryvale High School. Kenzie, thanks for bringing us this story. We'll talk soon.
Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Let's see if there's any more that tells me.
Thanks.
Okay, in the meantime, staying with this story, you're going to hear now from more of these law enforcement officials on the scene. They were updating the press just last hour, including the Phoenix police chief. Let's listen.
This is a sad day for the greater Maryvale community. The police department understands the impact something like this has on the entire community. It encompasses grief, fear, and concern. School staff immediately notified the SSO. He responded quickly and ultimately detained one of the persons involved. School safety is a top priority for our department. We'll continue to work closely with the district and the officers and Commander Saffler, who oversees this area, to ensure that students coming to school are safe. It's a very difficult time for those affected by this tragic incident. Our detectives are currently investigating this incident, and I promise you it'll be thorough and fair investigation. And as soon as we're able to release information, we will do that. Thank you.
Okay, that was enough for that video. We got one more. We got a couple more videos to get into. So they actually, yes, we got who it is. So that's what he looks like. So let's jump over into this one.
We now know the name of the suspect charged with stabbing a classmate to death inside of Maryvale High School.
Police have identified 16-year-old Chris Aguilar as the teen responsible. Fox 10's Lauren Clark joins us now with what caused this attack.
According to police paperwork, this actually started the day before when the victim, Michael Montoya, allegedly stole a gun from Aguilar. Now, Aguilar is currently being held on a $500,000.
Oh, I know we can't just pass by that. He what? He stole a gun from the victim. Well, we got to back that up, son. Oh, wow. That's crazy.
The day before when the victim, Michael Montoya, allegedly stole a gun from Aguilar. Now, Aguilar is currently being held on a $500,000 cash-only bond and will be charged as an adult.
These are very serious allegations. Someone lost their life in a school classroom where he should have been safe.
16-year-old Chris Aguilar sits in front of a judge for the first time. He's accused of stabbing and killing classmate 16-year-old Michael Montoya inside Maryville High School Tuesday. Phoenix officers interviewed several students who witnessed the attack. Police paperwork describes students seeing Aguilar, who typically sat in a different seat, sit right next to Montoya, punch him, then stab him 3 times. Montoya later died at the hospital from his wounds. Investigators located the weapon, described as a 4-inch pocket knife etched with Aguilar's name on the handle.
The defendant was the aggressor in the classroom, and the victim had no ability to defend himself.
Documents also suggest a possible motive. Classmates told police that Montoya robbed Aguilar of his gun the day before, and one witness claimed to overhear Aguilar talking about murdering Montoya in revenge. Aguilar is currently facing second-degree murder charges. But could there be a first-degree murder charge for premeditation?
Nothing's off the table.
Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell stressing that this is still early in the investigation.
Was submitted to our office with second-degree murder, but you know, we always keep an eye open for that. And the things that you point out are absolutely factors that we would look at. But you also have to look at premeditated to do what? To attack or to kill?
Aguilar's preliminary hearing in court will be held on August 28th at 8:30.
Okay,
reporting here in Phoenix, Lauren Clark, Fox 10.
Wow, y'all, he stole. So the victim stole the killer's gun. A fight happened. He was mad about it, and something happened, and he got stabbed. Why did he have a gun in the school in the first place? See, oh my God, man, what is happening? He had a gun in the school. Yes, he got it stolen. I don't know why he didn't. See, it sounds like I hate to say it, but it sounds like the victim was not that good of a kid either. Yes, you didn't need to lose his life, but he stole the gun from the killer. And what did he do with it? He held on to it. He didn't tell nobody. Because I'm assuming, unless I'm living in a crazy world, having a gun in a high school is never okay, and there's no reason for it, and you can immediately get in trouble. So he didn't tell the SOS officer or the principal or whoever he could have told. He holded on to it because none of this would have happened if he would have been like, "Oh, I took this gun. Somebody had a gun and I took it. Here you go." But would he have gotten in trouble for taking it? I don't know. But this is crazy. So we got to get into the next one. So it looks like the kids have finally returned back to school after this. So let's watch this little video.
So the Maryville High School community is on everyone's hearts and minds right now. They're entering a new school week, but without one of their students.
Yeah, today they will walk back onto campus in person. This is going to be the first time after a teenager lost his life on campus just last week. So our Sean Rice is outside of the school right now. Sean, how's the community doing? We know there was a vigil. We know this is the first time kids are going back to class. It's got to be a little nerve-wracking, not just for the kids, but for the parents too.
Yeah, absolutely. Emma, Allison, good morning to you both. It's an incredibly trying time for every student, parent, teacher who all call themselves a part of this Maryville High School community. It is, of course, incredibly rare for a classroom, a place where learning takes place, where students should feel safe, to turn into a crime scene, but that's unfortunately exactly what happened here at Maryville High School last week, and that's ultimately what led school officials to make that decision to convert in-person classes to at-home virtual learning from Wednesday to Friday of last week. And when students approach their high school this morning, this is what they'll walk by as they enter the parking lot. This is a memorial that has been set up. There are some signs on a gate that is swung open there that have Michael Montoya II's name on it. He's the victim of this awful stabbing. There are some candles and flowers here as well, all in remembrance of him. Let's take you to a picture which is shared with us from Michael Montoya II's family. This is the 16-year-old who lost his life in that stabbing incident on campus last Tuesday. Police say he was stabbed by a fellow classmate, someone he knew, 16-year-old Chris Aguilar. Now, in court records obtained by 12 News, witnesses told Phoenix police that Montoya may have recently robbed Aguilar of a firearm. Posts on social media indicate the pair were meeting up for a, quote, deal the day before the stabbing happened. Court records say that is when that alleged robbery took place.
So
now, over the next 24 hours...
Hold on. So he was selling the gun to the victim? That's what it sounds like to me. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But it sounds like he was selling the gun to the victim. And the victim stole it from him, robbed him.
There were then threats of murder made against Montoya by Aguilar and his brother.
That's crazy.
Classmates reported seeing Aguilar sit in a different seat last Tuesday, right next to Montoya in class here at Maryville High School. They reported seeing him take out a pocket knife and then stab his classmate 3 times. Teachers and fellow classmates told police they do not believe that Montoya was the aggressor, and they say he was not able to defend himself.
That was really crazy. It was really shocking.
It
was unreal.
Seeing the mom and the siblings and everything sad over this, and they didn't deserve this either.
We will always love you, Michael. Remember you forever. Here at Maryvale School, we will miss you so much.
Why was he buying a gun?
And after the stabbing, the Phoenix Union High School District converted all classes, as I mentioned, into virtual learning days. The district has told families they are conducting an ongoing investigation to learn how a weapon, in this case a pocket knife, was able to get onto campus, as they are a school with metal detectors at the very front of each of their entrances. Now, as for Aguilar, he is charged with second-degree murder in adult court. His case was originally in juvenile court, but there is a state law that if someone is 15, 16, or 17 years old and they're charged with as heinous of a crime as murder, their case is automatically referred to adult court, so that's where he will be prosecuted, and he's due back in court tomorrow morning. We're live in West Phoenix.
Now, see, they're not asking. I want to know why he was buying a gun in the first place, because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like a gun deal gone bad. He ended up getting robbed. The killer was mad that he was robbed. Then he showed up at school the next day, started to fight him and stab him, wanting to kill him. But why was the victim buying a gun? These are questions that need to be answered. Why was the victim buying a gun? What was the purpose? I was thinking that he just stole it from just seeing it or something like that, but it sounded like he was buying it. Now I might be wrong, but tell me if I misheard it. Tell me if I misheard it. But this is a wild case, everybody. This is a wild case. Tell me your thoughts on it. Tell me how much time you think the killer should get. Do you think? I don't think that it should be a factor. I don't think that the factor that he stole a gun from him matters. Well, I don't know. At the end of the day, he wanted to kill him. He sat next to him in the classroom, started the fight, and stabbed him. It looks like he was stabbed from scissors, just the victim trying to defend himself. Wow. Yeah, but the question still lingers in the back of my mind. Why did he steal the gun? Why did he buy a gun in the first place? But like I said, tell me your thoughts. And oh my God, this is a crazy situation. But y'all remember this? We talk about some heavy things. So remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It's a crazy world out here, but we got to keep reviewing it. We're going to pivot over into another high school stabbing at Billy Ryan High School in Denton. Yes, we got another high school stabbing. So let's get over into that and see what this is about. It smells like something's in the air. Something must be in the air because it's a lot of stabbings happening. I don't remember it being this bad when I was in high school. Truly.
Stabbing on a high school campus in Denton has students and their families demanding answers. Good evening, everyone. I'm Casey Stiegel. This all went down Friday morning. Police aren't saying much other than a student was injured by a fellow student in what they call a stabbing incident at Billy Ryan High School. The victim was not seriously hurt and the suspect was immediately detained. Okay. Parents say they received a vague email from the school district, but it made zero mention of a crime. Fox 4's Amelia Jones has been trying to track down some answers on this. She's live with tonight's top story. Hi, Amelia.
Hi there, Casey. The parents I spoke to are upset that they learned a student was stabbed from social media instead of hearing it directly from Denton ISD. Now they're calling for more transparency from the district.
We got a very vague email, and now we're all upset.
Crystal Mendoza's daughter is a sophomore at Ryan High School in Denton. On Friday, Mendoza received this email from Denton ISD. It says EMS was called for a student in need of medical attention, but it didn't share what led up to this.
To me, that made it sound like, oh, a kid had an asthma attack.
Yeah,
you know,
like that.
I'm glad they got taken care of.
Then she found out on social media it was much more serious.
We were absolutely livid.
Denton police say Friday morning a student stabbed another student. The victim was taken to the hospital but should recover. The suspect was taken to the juvenile detention center for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
My concern was the lack of transparency from Denton ISD and from Ryan High School in regards to what happened.
Mendoza isn't alone in her concern. Josie Gonzalez's son is a freshman at Ryan High School. She too was upset when she found out what really happened.
In my mind as a parent, I think I would have really liked to hear them say, hey, this is what happened. This is how we are handling it, and this is how we plan to handle it in the future.
Both moms.
Yeah, I don't like to stop it too much, but it sounds reasonable to me. It sounds reasonable to me. I'm not a parent, but if something happened at my kid's school and they send me a vague email, I'll be upset too. Like, you should have told me, like, issue a statement, or there was a stabbing at the school. Please come get your kid. Because school is over with for the day. There's nothing. If a stabbing happens at the school needs to be over with. I don't care what level did it. Nah, the school day is over with. Everybody needs to go home. But yeah, they need to tell the parents, be honest about it. At least that's the main thing. Just tell me what happened. Be honest about what happened. Like she said, tell me how you're going to stop and fix the situation from happening again in the future. But let's keep going.
Sent an email to the superintendent expressing their concerns. They also told Fox 4 that their students were left in the dark too.
So he had only heard ambulance. There was no notifications from the teachers. I get that maybe they were trying to keep the situation under control in a small area. But I think it's important for the students to know what is happening as well.
The moms wish their students would have been able to tell them something happened. But a new state law that went into effect this school year bans cell phones inside the classrooms.
If you want to take my child's phone, I want full transparency.
Yeah. Well,
period.
And Mendoza plans to take
100%. Yes, because if something like this would have happened, kids would have been texting it. I would have texted my mama quick. Mama, something just happened at school. Come get me. I don't care if they didn't want to let me out or not. But come on now. Absolutely crazy.
Her concerns to the school board.
My biggest question to the school board is going to be, what are you going to do to improve transparency with the parents?
We reached out several times to Denton ISD for a statement about this incident, and we're still waiting to hear back. The identity of the two students involved will not be released because of their ages. Casey.
Yeah, hopefully Denton ISD will finally get some information out there on this to kind of quell the concerns. Thank you so much, Fox 4's Amelia Jones reporting live for us tonight.
Absolutely crazy. Let's get over
Here's L5 S1. I don't want that.
This next one. Let's get over to this next one.
Tonight, we have new developments about a stabbing that happened inside a high school in Denton. Parents at Ryan High on Denton's east side say the district never told them one student stabbed another on Friday. As WFA's Cole Sullivan reports, they want more information about what happened.
At a place like this, you might hear knowledge is power. And if that's the case,
there was none of that.
Crystal Mendoza feels pretty powerless. She's the parent of a sophomore at Ryan High School in Denton, an alum, too.
I spent 4 wonderful years here.
But she still hasn't learned what really went down here Friday. It started with an email home about an ambulance at the school.
To assist a student in need of medical attention. That's it.
She didn't think much of it.
In my head, I was like, if it was more serious, there would have been a follow-up email.
Until she saw this.
New tonight, Denton police are investigating after a student was injured in a stabbing at school.
I was so angry because I started to piece everything together.
Denton police have filled in some of the blanks. They say one student stabbed another who went to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The suspect was immediately detained, police say, and no one else threatened.
And I went back to that email from the morning.
What caused the stabbing? Was it a fight?
I was in shock. I couldn't believe that there was not more details and that this was the way that I was finding out.
The district didn't get back to us tonight. It is a weekend. On Friday, a spokesperson said all other students were promptly and safely relocated at the time of the incident, and staff worked quickly with first responders to ensure the situation was contained. The matter has been fully addressed, but not well enough, if you ask Mendoza.
If there's a violent attack where there is an arrest, I would like to know, you know?
She plans to voice her concerns at a school board meeting this week. In Denton, I'm Cole Sullivan.
Yeah, it's completely understandable to me to where she would want to some answers. Like, to at least tell me what's happening. Don't just send a vague email being like, incident occurred where we need to send call an EMS so he can take a student away who suffered. Some vague stuff like that. No, tell me what happened. First of all, the kids needed to have been released from school, first of all. But tell me, would you be upset as a parent if they would have just sent you a vague email? But then you're sitting there watching the news, and next thing you know, you see your kid's school, a big school stabbing. Student was stabbed at your kid's high school. Would you not feel upset? Would you not feel mad that the school did not tell you the full story? They just said, oh, there was an incident happened and we called EMS. That's bigger than an incident. When you say it like that, it sounds like it's some asthma attack, something like that, allergic reaction, something to where it's not a violent attack. Now, I don't know what all happened. They're probably not going to release the details just because they were younger, but all right, since no one's a murderer, they're not going to release the details, but I wonder what happened. What caused the fight? What caused the stabbing? Was it a fight? Someone just was getting bullied and they fight. There's a lot of scenarios where this could have happened, but I don't know if we'll ever get the information. But I'll keep up on the story and see if we can find anything else. But like I always say, tell me your thoughts, y'all. Tell me your thoughts. So if you disagree with anything I said, tell me if you disagree, and tell me why you disagree. Jesus, it's a crazy world we live in, but it smells like something might be in the air. Something might be in the air because there's more and more high school stabbings. We haven't gotten to middle school stabbings, but how the world's going, we might get to it. Jesus Christ. But like I said, tell me your thoughts. Tell me your thoughts. But this makes me think about the next topic. So a mother faces charges for her son's felonies. We talked about this before, but should parents be held liable for what their kids do? Could they be charged? We talked about one town that is actually working on a law for that the parents could be fined or charged and spend up to 30 days in jail, depending on if their kids keep committing crimes. If they keep committing crimes without the parents stopping them or something like that. But go back and look at that video. But let's get over into this next one. Like I said, a mother is facing charges because of her son's felony charges. Let's get right into it.
Holding a mother accountable for out-of-control criminal behavior by her child. It's something police have been reluctant to do, but it just happened in Utica. A rare arrest, and police did it to prove a point and get other parents to exert more authority over their children. This week, police arrested 36-year-old Nutro Muhammad. Authorities say her 11-year-old son has been involved in at least 4 felonies: robbery, fire at a Walmart, stolen cars, and more. Because of his age, police say they can't charge him criminally. So they've turned their attention to the mother. Late today, Utica Police Lieutenant Michael...
All right, you know, I'm not going to stop it too much, but 11 years old, and he's already been robbing cars, stealing cars, setting fires in Walmart, and other things like that. They can't charge him because of his age. It sounds perfectly logical to me to charge the parent. The parent should have control over their kid. Maybe she should do more whoopings. I don't know. There's a lot of things you could do, but absolutely crazy. Let's keep going.
To the mother. Late today, Utica Police Lieutenant Michael Curley and I talked about some of the specifics of this case, why police and prosecutors took this very rare step, and what they're hoping comes of it.
Sounds reasonable to me.
What message do you hope that this sends to folks in Utica and beyond?
So this is a very unique situation, considering the age of the child, the amount of crimes that he's been in, the lack of the ability for the police and the community to really do anything about it, coupled with the fact that Raise the Age has just kind of run amok amongst the juvenile population with this case in particular, and the fact that under 12 cannot be prosecuted in any criminal facility or family court. We felt it prudent that we had to do something in this respect.
When you arrested this mother in particular and explained why she was going to be placed under arrest, what was the reaction?
I mean, certainly she was unhappy, as dictated by our press release, and certainly I think everyone can understand that by the charge in of itself, this is not the first contact we've had with this mother. It wasn't that a simple juvenile stole a pack of gum from a local convenience store and we're charging a mother for an uncare of a juvenile. This child has been in a multitude of felonies, to include robberies, burglaries, stolen vehicles, and a fire at Walmart. So it's not as if these aren't just true public nuisance crimes as well. So this kid isn't just out stealing things, as we said. He's not throwing rocks through windows. This is a case where a juvenile has created a multitude of major safety issues, and the mom has just been unwilling to try to stem those behaviors.
And you're sure it's unwilling, not unable?
Well, I think there is a very fine line between unwilling and unable. Once you've been notified, informed, and offered services on a multitude of occasions, and you're just not taking advantage of those things, nor attempting in any facility to try to rein in your child's behavior, what are we as the public and we as the police to assist the public supposed to do? Just allow the kid to continue wantonly committing crimes, committing violent crimes, and out there at all hours of the night without supervision? I think it was incumbent upon us just to prove a point that these kind of behaviors will not be allowed, obviously in very certain circumstances. Each and every time we've talked to mom, she either states she doesn't know where he is, or he snuck out, or he's out doing things. And these crimes aren't just occurring at 6 p.m. They're occurring at 1 a.m., at midnight, and later in the morning hours, in which it is their due diligence and their care to make sure their child has proper supervision. And each and every time we've encountered this child and brought him home and spoke to mom, we found that it has been a lack of all care, supervision, and neglect potentially. I mean, obviously that's a charge that can be explored later down the line, but things that just cannot continue due to, one, the age of the child and the serious nature of his crimes.
Is there any worry that coming down on mom could make the life of the child worse if mom is saddled with court time, fines, whatever, potential jail time, something like that, that things could end up worse for the kid?
Understood. It's a concern. However, I think in this case, it is endangering the welfare of the child. So we are arguing that mom's behavior has created a situation which either allows this child to act in this behavior or has been unable and unwilling to take care to cease this behavior. So I would argue that mom's own behavior has created the situation in this child's life that he is just free and wanton to do what he wants. And we need to stem that behavior somehow. And if this requires mom to get the services, to adhere to the services and comply with services, I think we've helped the child in the long run.
In this case, Utica police say they went for a misdemeanor charge against the mother, hoping to get her attention but not upend the family. The punishment could be probation, court-ordered services. Rarely would it be jail time.
Wow. That is crazy, y'all. That is
We're following
crazy.
a big...
Get out of there. That is absolutely crazy. Now, I did look. So it's an absolutely crazy situation, but we have to look at this. So let's see. In New York, so this is Utica. See, I'm not good with names, y'all. Utica, New York. An 11-year-old cannot be charged with murder as an adult because they are below the minimum age for criminal responsibility for that offense. Instead, that case will be handled in family court as a juvenile delinquent matter with a focus on rehabilitation rather than imprisonment. Now, how do you agree with that? Can an 11-year-old be driven to be that bad where he just commits murder at 11 years old? I mean, I could see it if he did it, if he knew what he was doing. I think at 11 years old, you know what you're doing. Yes, you can't make the same reasonable. You can't be as reasonable because you're still a child. But I think you know what right from wrong is, and you know what murder is. Maybe your emotions got out of whack, but for 1 second you ended up killing somebody. But I feel like you know if you pull a gun on somebody and shoot them, they're going to die. So I don't know about charging them as, but if there's 11, I'm assuming juvenile, they usually get out at 18. But absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. Like I said, tell me how y'all feel about all of that. Like I always say, tell me how you feel about the mother being charged for the kids. Do you agree with it? The kid can't be charged right now, so is it reasonable to charge the mother who's not handling her kid? I think it is to me. It just, hey, if you're not gonna handle your kid, and he's robbed, stolen, he's set fires in Walmart, bunch of felony charges. But the mother did nothing about it. So they give her a charge. Nothing crazy though. Probation, some kind of misdemeanor just to wake her up, I'm assuming. Well, like they said. But yeah, tell me how you feel about that. Tell me how y'all feel about that. It's a crazy world we're living in. It's a crazy world, but parents need to control their children. I mean, we got to be honest about it. Parents need to control their children. We can't be out here going crazy at 11. At 11 years old, you're going crazy? Nah, somebody should have took you in the house and beat your butt. And now I'm not talking about abuse. I'm talking about discipline. Take that belt, pop them, so they understand what's happening. I mean, it's simple as me, but maybe it should have started before 11. But absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. This whole juvenile and everything like this getting out of control. There's a lot of crazy things happening, but we got to keep reviewing the world. Like always, y'all, remember to hit that like button, follow me on Instagram and stuff like that, and subscribe if you liking the videos. But we're going to go over to the Coast Guard. So the Coast Guard said that they had their largest drug bust. They ended up getting 76,000 pounds of drugs. 76,000 pounds. I think they said close to $500 million worth of drugs. So let's get over into that. We got a few videos to watch from this. Insane. Let's get into it.
The Coast Guard offloading the largest haul of illegal drugs in its history. Local 10 Syra Onware is live with the stunning video of the bust on the high seas. Syra.
Nicole, it's always cool to be able to come out here to Port Everglades and give the Coast Guard the opportunity to show off their hard work. All of these interdictions, these drug seizures that they make to prevent these drugs from ever hitting our streets. Well, today was particularly remarkable just with the sheer amount of drugs they were able to seize. The Coast Guard sharing this video from summer interdictions that they say will lead to safer streets for South Floridians and potentially all Americans. It shows a Coast Guard crew in August interdicting a Go Fast vessel suspected of drug smuggling approximately 40 miles southwest of Haiti. Sky 10 flying over Port Everglades Monday morning, where the Coast Guard cutter Hamilton made history.
We are surging additional cutters, aircraft, and tactical law enforcement teams to the eastern Pacific Ocean to hunt down, interdict, and board these suspected smugglers, all in support of Operation Pacific Viper.
It was a good day for the good guys, the U.S. Coast Guard marking an historic milestone. Officials offloading more than 77,000 pounds of illegal narcotics at Port Everglades, the largest single drug offload in the Coast Guard's history. The massive haul seized earlier this summer by crews on board the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Hamilton. It includes more than 60 pounds of cocaine and nearly 16,000 pounds of marijuana.
Many of the interdicted vessels we are talking about left Venezuela.
Altogether, the Coast Guard reports the contraband is worth more than $473 million on the street. The Coast Guard reports the vessels are from organized crime gangs in Latin America like Tren de Aragua and Cartel de Solas.
These drugs fuel and enable cartels and transnational criminal organizations, the very same groups that are pushing fentanyl and other deadly substances to our communities.
So a good question is what happens to all of those drugs now? They are transported from here at the port to the hands of the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Administration, of course, with a lot of security and a lot of surveillance.
Oh, yeah.
Reporting live from Port Everglades tonight, Syra Onward, local.
Absolutely crazy. They got close to $500 million worth of drugs, cocaine and marijuana. Absolutely crazy. Let's get over into this next video. This next one's I believe they're just going through. We actually see them unloading. It's not really much sound, but let's get into it. Let's watch it. Wow. I wonder how much we know that heavy. $80 or so pounds. Stacks and stacks and stuff.
That's brown. That's purple. There you go. Purple. Yep. Purple. All right, last year, bro.
Absolutely crazy. Let's get over into this next one. That was just a little video. Let's get over to this next video.
We begin tonight with the massive drug busts on the high seas. Today, the Coast Guard offloaded a record-breaking haul with an estimated worth of nearly $500 million. Over the course of 2 months, officials say they seized more than 61,000 pounds of cocaine. It's part of an escalating crackdown on drug cartels, and Homeland Security correspondent Nicole Skanga joins me now to tell me about it. Nicole, what was the operation that led to this haul?
Yeah, John, more than 76,000 pounds of illegal narcotics, valued, as you said it there, nearly $500 million. And it was the result of 19 different maritime seizures in the Eastern Pacific and Caribbean Sea dating back to June. The U.S. Coast Guard says the drugs seized represent 23 million potentially lethal doses, enough to kill everyone in the state of Florida. The majority of that was cocaine, but other drugs included marijuana and the building blocks of fentanyl. On top of that, the crew stopped 11 what's called go-fast vessels, speedboats, and detained 34 suspected drug traffickers. If these numbers seem shocking for a 2-month operation, they shouldn't be. An explosion in the global container shipping business has allowed narco traffickers to take to the high seas, fueling Europe and other countries' growing appetite for cocaine. The Coast Guard says 80% of all illegal drugs are now seized by authorities in this way.
Wow. And so, Nicole, how does this fit into the administration's larger drug enforcement operations?
Yeah, earlier this month, President Trump signed a secret directive authorizing the Pentagon to use military force against some Latin American drug cartels. And just last week, we saw the first few signs of that action, the U.S. deploying 3 destroyers off the waters of Venezuela. President Trump has long blamed the cartels for the fentanyl pipeline into U.S. communities, stirring violence. The decision to bring not only the Coast Guard, but other branches of the U.S. military into this fight, though, is notable. It raises a number of legal questions. For instance, what happens if the U.S. forces injure or kill civilians outside of a congressionally authorized armed conflict? What is clear today is the U.S. government is waging this war on drugs on multiple fronts. In fact, just this afternoon, the Attorney General announced Ismael Zambada Garcia, the infamous founder of the Sinaloa cartel, pled guilty in New York to drug trafficking following his capture last year. On this Monday in August, John, those are 2 big wins in a battle we've spent decades losing.
Wow. Absolutely crazy. Tell me your thoughts, y'all. Tell me your thoughts. That much $500 million worth of drugs. You had cocaine, marijuana, and you had the building blocks of fentanyl. Luckily, they're out there catching. They said this is a 2-month operation. In 2 months, they was able to get that much. And that's like 80. They said it's 80% of the drugs coming in comes from the Coast Guard or comes from overseas and stuff like that, through the seas, not land, through the seas. Absolutely crazy. I wanted to bring everybody's attention to that, but let me know your thoughts on that. Let me know your thoughts on that. Like I always say, anybody who's dealing fentanyl, especially fentanyl, anybody who's dealing fentanyl needs to be sent, dealing or bringing it in, needs to spend the rest of their life in jail. The rest. So deadly, makes no sense. But like I always say, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. But we're going to pivot now. We're going to pivot now over into this one. This was funny. So speaking of drug busts, we got the sheriff everybody loves, who's very funny in my opinion. He caught some drug dealers and he's giving a press conference wearing their drip. That's what he's saying. He's wearing their gold chains and everything like that. So let's get over into that and see what it's talking about. This man. Absolutely great. Let's get into it.
I got their drip.
He said, I got their drip.
Their body. We got their guns. We got their dope. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
This man got on a gold
Last
chain.
week we did a press conference as a result of a grand jury indictment for first-degree murder because this team, these guys at the top, sold the drugs that killed a 65-year-old lady. I told you last week that we would be back and talk now about this wire intercept investigation that we all worked on together. And let me highlight the people that worked with us so you have an idea of the complexity and the need for cooperation in order to successfully do these investigations. We're joined today by Brandon Shealy, who's going to be speaking from FDLE. They're our partners and we work together every day. Central Florida HIDA is with us, Executive Director AJ Collazo. Homeland Security Investigations not attending, but they participated. U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, they participated. They're not here today. United States Postal Inspection Services, they're not here, but they participated. Auburndale Police Department, Lieutenant Austin Leal. The State Attorney's Office, obviously Nicora Orr, who is one of our heroes. She is the one in the engine behind this T3 and the search warrants because we have to have our prosecutors on board and reviewing and making sure we dot all the I's and we cross all the T's, and the core, it was remarkable. Brian Haas, our state attorney, is the very best. And because we all work so well together, you'll see the outcomes today. The medical examiner's office was very important in this investigation because in order to bring the first-degree murder charge that occurred as a result of this T3, we had to have their expertise in their work. And where would we be without the FBI? The Lakeland RA attending today is Special Agent Mike Glass and Brian Wilson. And very important to this entire process is our Chief of Police in the Bartow Police Department, Chief Walker, because he'll give you more details. But this entire Capital City crackdown occurred in Bartow. And Capital City, by the way, that is the county seat of Bartow. That's how we got Capital City. They said I had to explain that. I thought it was evident, at least it was to me. But the folks that I'm going to introduce you to and speak specifically about have been dealing drugs in Bartow for years. You're going to hear me talk about they have been to prison before. And you're going to hear about me talk about different amounts and kinds of drugs. So as we begin, let's talk
he got pictures
about our number one man. And our number one man, who should be here someplace, did I walk? I think I left him right here because he was our number one man, is Nathaniel Donald. He's known as Nate. This man is the kingpin of Bartow, of the drug sales that occur. He's the tip of the spear or the head of the snake. He's not a pharmacist, but those under his command will make sure that you have marijuana, fentanyl, crack cocaine, MDMA, all kinds of pills to include oxycodone, hydrocodone, ketamine. We did 6 wire intercepts and 9 search warrants, 8 of the search warrants in Bartow back in November of last year. And guess what? $50,000 in drip. But I want you to imagine this for a minute. People continue to tell you that drugs are low level and nonviolent. They're anything but low level and nonviolent. Where you see $50,000 in drip, where you see, that not so dangerous drug of cannabis, you see guns, and you see first-degree murder from overdose. So I am over it. I am over it when people tell you that drugs are low level and nonviolent. And the men and women that you see here today representing the hardworking detectives, and I can tell you, my narcotics teams are the very best. They have to stand in the face of firearms like this when they serve search warrants. We have to spend the money on T3s, as we call them, wire intercepts, in order to effectively bring down organizational groups. And the reality is, Nathaniel, or Nate, is at the top. But let me introduce you to some of his workers. Troy Walker is the person that sold the drugs to our 65-year-old victim. She bought these drugs on a Saturday night. She took some of these drugs, and on Sunday morning, she was walking out of her house to church when she collapsed. So she died so Nate could have this drip. Did you hear what I said? He's buying this drip from selling drugs to people on the streets, one of which died. And this is the first time in the history of the sheriff's office that we've actually monitored conversations about their scurrying around after she died from Troy selling this drug. So where did Troy get it from?
Well, what did he say?
Another member, Brian Merritt.
He got pictures of
everyone. Brian is 42. He sold the crack cocaine to Troy.
Crack cocaine.
Troy sold the crack cocaine to our victim. Listen, he was released from prison for serving 4 years on a 3-year minimum mandatory where we arrested him before. He was still on probation from that time when we arrested him again. This is really kind of the pivot guy in Bartow. He is the main street pusher, the main connection between him and those that are selling and using on the streets. 32 people are listed here, but we're focused.
32 people. Absolutely crazy. And the sheriff is wearing a drip. He said, oh my
focusing on this. He's already been to prison on 2 occasions, and now he sold the drugs to Troy, who had been to jail or prison on 2 occasions, and killed a 65-year-old lady.
Oh.
If these guys aren't in jail, if they're not in prison, they're selling drugs on the streets in Bartow.
People don't, it's hard to turn their life around.
And everybody in Bartow knows it, but they're afraid of them. Then you have Herbert Merrick's. He sold Brian Myrick pills. Myrick would sell Merrick's cocaine. Myrick told Merrick that he fronts the pills to the girl so he can kind of get them coming back. And then he does other business with them.
Oh, yeah.
He's currently out
y'all.
on bond. Oh, just a thought. He's been in prison too previously. And then there's Isaiah Donnell. He's Nate's brother. We arrested him in February of 2024 for trafficking in cocaine, and he was out on bond. And guess what happened in October
Sounds like they don't need
of
bond.
2024? He comes back up on our T3, still dealing dope. While he's on bond for trafficking from 6 months earlier.
The theme I'm getting here is that these people don't need to have bond. It sounds like that. They're absolutely crazy. Let's finish up. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but
you see, folks, these people will never quit selling dope if they're not locked up.
I can see it.
And people die. And we have the empirical evidence that they die from it. Then there's Elijah Nahad. He's 23. He was the marijuana dealer. He's the connection from Orlando selling the marijuana. We caught him selling 11 pounds to Brian Myrick. And guess what? He came up on our T3 with a lot of details. Then there's Michael Caballero Medina. He's 24. He's from Venezuela. Now, this is part of the frustrating confluence of federal immigration issues and local law enforcement issues. He's in this country illegally. And guess what? He was trafficking in MDMA. We caught him with a pound of it. We're waiting on the lab to return the results, but we caught him with a pound of what we believe to be ketamine. We had a trafficking warrant out for his arrest. We arrested him as part of the T3. He made bond. We had an immigration hold on him. So when he made bond, the feds came and picked him up because that's what they do when they're finished doing business with us. They picked him up and deported him. He still hasn't answered for the trafficking in our jurisdiction, but he's now in Venezuela. So what we've done is we've issued a capias for his arrest. If he ever comes back into the United States, we will, at that point in time, take him into custody, and then we'll be able to no bond him and hold him until he answers for his part of this organized narcotics ring.
What's this bond? I don't understand giving them bond.
I want to turn the podium over now to Chief Walker. It's an honor to work with him and the Bartow police officers on investigations.
Absolutely crazy. That's probably where we're going to end it for this one. But as y'all see, man, These drug dealers out here buying drip, and then they end up with when they get caught, the sheriff ends up wearing it. Like, he's just trying to make a point, but he got it on, though. I said that. He got it on. It matches good with his outfit. And it makes it dang sure makes a point. Dang sure. I don't know why I didn't say it. But absolutely crazy, y'all. Let me know your thoughts, but that is wild. That is wild. He said, yeah, I got they drip. I got it. He's funny, y'all. The Florida, oh my God, them down there. He does not play. And that's how that's how I want my police officers. They don't play about crime, and they're going to get them off the streets. Get them off the streets. But absolutely crazy, y'all. I had to bring that up because why not? Because the first image was just him with the chain on with the gun. Like, yeah, I got it. See, absolutely. He got the chain, the Cuban link bracelet too. He had it on him. He had it on him. But like I said, tell me your thoughts, y'all. Tell me your thoughts. Why do they keep getting bond? That's the question for me. Why do they keep getting bond when they're just gonna do it again? They're gonna do it while they're on bond. There's like, nah. They just let me out. It's over with. They don't feel like they're in trouble. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. Now we got to pivot over to the kids. We got to get over to the kids. We got to get over to Emmanuel Haro. And was he murdered by his parents? So we got a few videos to look at this and see what it's talking about. If y'all haven't heard about who he is, but you're going to learn about it here in a second. But let's jump right over into it. Let's get into it, y'all.
And breaking right now, a 7-month-old baby missing in Yucaipa. Police responded to the 3400 block of Yucaipa Boulevard just before 8 last night. That location is near a shopping center and several stores, and there were reports this may have happened inside one of the shops. We have asked sheriff's deputies to confirm that. We're waiting to hear back. The boy was last seen wearing a black Nike onesie. Deputies say he's about 24 inches tall with brown hair and eyes. He's also cross-eyed. If you have information on the child, call 911.
So that was the first thing that we saw about it. Just a missing kid. But the story got deeper. Let's keep going.
We do have breaking news in the case of a missing baby, 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro. His parents have been arrested for murder. I'm Philip Palmer.
And I'm Colleen Sullivan. Let's get right to Inland Empire Bureau Chief Rob McMillan with all the details. Rob.
Right. Well, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, along with help from the Riverside County Sheriff's Department, out here all morning long investigating at the home of that couple. Let's see if we can push in here to where you can see the forensics team back there investigating. You know, it was just about this time last week. We were standing there on the front porch talking with the parents as they were making an emotional plea for help, claiming their child had been kidnapped. Now, precisely 1 week later, both of them under arrest on suspicion of murder. 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro now presumed dead. The boy's parents, Jake and Rebecca Haro, now under arrest, accused of murder. Sheriff's deputies sealing off the entire property as investigators search for clues as to what really happened to the baby. This all starting when the boy's parents reporting him kidnapped at a Big 5 parking lot more than a week ago in Yucaipa. The day after their report, the mother making this tearful plea for her boy to be returned.
Just give him back to me again, please. Don't harm my son. Please, I'm begging you. Please, God, please.
But within a day of their interview with Eyewitness News, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department saying the parents had stopped cooperating with their investigation. Then came news of the father's criminal history, convicted of willful cruelty to a child 2 years ago. Today, members of the community coming to the scene this morning, still in shock about everything that's happened.
Heart-wrenching for everybody. I'm a mother and a grandmother, so it's been emotional. I've been following it since it started, and it's taken a toll on me. I've been having a hard time sleeping at night and just trying to keep up with the updates.
And then when you found out this morning that they were arrested, accused of murder.
Shaking. I was shaking.
Goosebumps. All up and down my arms, my legs, goosebumps, because I had a feeling.
And now a live look at the scene from Air 7 up above. It's important to point out that the Sheriff's Department says the search for this 7-month-old child continues. Despite rumors floating around in the community, they have not found the child or the child's body yet, but Emmanuel Haro is presumed to be dead at this point. Now, just a few minutes ago, the attorney for Jake Haro showed up and was escorted into the scene by sheriff's investigators trying to find out more about what that's about. But again, the parents of Emmanuel Haro both arrested on suspicion of murder. Live in Cabazon, Rob McMillan, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
No. Absolutely crazy. Let's get over into this next video.
Well, detectives wrapped up their on-scene investigation here at the family home a couple of hours ago. You know, as you mentioned, it was just last week that we were, in fact, on this front porch talking with this mother and father, Rebecca and Jake Haro, who appeared to be fighting back tears, begging for the public's help, saying their child had been kidnapped after Rebecca said she had been attacked. That was last Friday. 7 days later, both of them now under arrest, accused of murder. 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro now presumed dead. The boy's parents, Jake and Rebecca Haro, now under arrest, accused of murder. Sheriff's deputies sealing off the entire property as investigators search for clues as to what really happened to the baby. This all starting when the boy's parents reporting him kidnapped at a Big 5 parking lot more than a week ago in Yucaipa. The day after their report, the mother making this tearful plea for her boy to be returned.
Just give him back to me again. Please don't harm my son. Please, I'm begging you. Please, God, please.
But within a day of their interview with Eyewitness News, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department saying the parents had stopped cooperating with their investigation. Then came news of the father's criminal history, convicted of willful cruelty to a child 2 years ago.
He should have never have been let go with that whole situation because this could have been prevented. I think the system failed these children, all of them.
Today, members of the community coming to the scene this morning, still in shock about everything that's happened.
Heart-wrenching for everybody. I'm a mother and a grandmother, so it's been emotional. I've been following it since it started, and it's taken a toll on me. I've been having a hard time sleeping at night and just trying to keep up with the updates.
Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Now, that's where we're at right now. But this next video, it looks like even though he was charged, they got him trying to assist and looking for his dead son's remains, or his son's remains. That's what they're calling it as.
We begin with stunning new developments tonight in the baby Emmanuel case. Deputies were out searching for the missing child in Moreno Valley today with his father by their side.
Investigators believe that the 7-month-old is dead at this point, but his parents, Jake and Rebecca, are accused of his murder. Now, here's a closer look at where today's search happened. This is along the 60 freeway near the Gilman Springs Road exit. Ultimately, the child, though, was not found. Chris Wolf joining us live in our news center tonight with the developments. Chris?
Rick, Corrine, the search for baby Emmanuel took a very unpleasant and some might say surprising turn tonight. His embattled father, Jake, was spotted assisting in a search for the 7-month-old, missing now more than 1 week and presumed dead. Captured on cameras on the ground and in the air, murder suspect Jake Haro is seen this Sunday in a remote part of Riverside County, dressed in a brightly colored jail jumpsuit, assisting in a search for the remains of his missing baby, 7-month-old Emmanuel. Jake and his wife Rebecca are accused of killing their son.
They are sticking to their story. That's what it sounds like to me. They're sticking to the story. Now, we won't know for sure until the evidence come out, but it looks like everybody's pretty much convinced that they killed their son, their baby son. But absolutely crazy, but they are sticking to the story, both the mother and the father.
The case spans 2 counties, and San Bernardino County Sheriff's officials confirm their detectives conducted the search in Moreno Valley along the westbound shoulder of the 60 freeway near Gilman Springs Road. Cadaver dogs were part of the effort to bring another level of resolution to the mystery of what happened to the baby, yet the search ended with no results. We're also getting a first look at the booking photos of Jake and Rebecca Haro. They were taken to a Riverside County jail shortly after San Bernardino County deputies arrested the couple early Friday morning at their home in Cabazon. Social workers had previously removed a 2-year-old child from the property. Clothing indicates the Haros may have been taken by surprise, handcuffed and hauled off to spend time behind bars. Concerned citizens have been flocking to the location, building a display for baby Emmanuel just outside the home with posters, stuffed animals, balloons, and candles.
It's crazy, sad, sick. I could do that to a child.
It's just a baby. Just give our son back, please.
The story began in mid-August with claims of a kidnapping and a plea for help in front of news cameras, including ours.
Please come and bring my son back, please.
The Haros say a stranger jumped Rebecca in the parking lot of a sporting goods store in Yucaipa as she was changing the baby's diaper in her car. She says the attacker knocked her unconscious, and when she awoke, Emmanuel was gone. San Bernardino County detectives, however, say her story was filled with inconsistencies, and when they pressed the couple for answers, they stopped talking.
Jake Haro does have a criminal history. He pleaded guilty to child cruelty 2 years ago involving a little girl in Hemet. He was given jail time and probation in that case. Authorities say he violated probation by possessing a firearm and ammunition. Jake and Rebecca Haro are expected
absolutely crazy, y'all. Hold on. Let's
in court Tuesday.
Okay. They're supposed to be in court Tuesday, but it is absolutely tragic. Absolutely tragic that a little baby had to lose his life. Now we got one more video that I just recently found going through this that I do want to pull up just so we can get the full round of it, all the stories. But this next one, let's go to screen share.
Developments tonight in the search for a missing baby in the Inland Empire. We now know his mother, who is currently in jail on suspicion of murder, maintains her child was kidnapped.
Like we said.
Fox 11's Nick Garcia is live in downtown Riverside with what could be next in this investigation. Nick?
Right, Susan, good evening. Well, Rebecca Haro is behind bars in that jail here in Riverside right now. The Riverside District Attorney's Office says a decision on filing has not been made yet, but we know that Rebecca and Jake Haro both face that count of murder. If those charges are filed, they could appear in court here tomorrow. It's a case that has captured national attention, the disappearance of infant Emmanuel Haro. Last week, his parents, Jake and Rebecca Haro, were arrested for murder. Now Rebecca is speaking out from jail. She spoke with the Southern California News Group, insisting her baby was kidnapped, saying, quote, "I want to be out looking for my baby." She also spoke about her husband, saying, quote, "He's a good dad. He would never hurt a baby." That jailhouse interview happened Sunday, the same day Jake Haro, seen here in an orange jumpsuit, was brought by San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies to help look for Emmanuel's body near the 60 freeway in Moreno Valley. The body was not found, but detectives do believe the baby is dead. Sunday night, a growing memorial outside the Haro home in Cabazon.
Beautiful that baby Emmanuel gets this support. It's very unfortunate that he wasn't able to get it while he was still here.
Concerned community members have gathered several times since baby Emmanuel's disappearance, hoping he will be found. As of Monday afternoon, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department has not located the boy's body. Certainly the question on everyone's mind, where is baby Emmanuel? Again, if those charges are filed, we're keeping a close eye on it. If they're filed, they do expect to see them appear in court here in Riverside tomorrow. In the meantime, though, both Jake and Rebecca Haro are being held without bail. Live in downtown Riverside, I'm Nick Garcia.
Hold them without bail. That makes sense to me. Now, here's a question. Do you think that they actually killed their son? Do you think so? I don't know. We got more information. They haven't really given us why they believe or why they're suspected. But the baby is still missing. The body or the actual son. Absolutely tragic. I don't know how a parent could do something like this. But if they did do it, you know what they need? They need to stay in jail for life. And these are the people, like I always say, that when they die, they got to have a wing just for the ashes of the people who commit these heinous crimes with children, women, and stuff like that. And they just have their ashes sitting in the wing so their soul can stay in them. But absolutely tragic, everybody. But let me know your thoughts on that. Do you think the parents actually did it? But we'll keep up with this and see if we get if they find the kid. But find the baby's body. But we got to pray for the other family members. That if the parents didn't do it and there's just a big misunderstanding, hopefully that'll be found out too. But this is absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. Now, we got to pivot. The last thing we're going to get into today. Yes, a woman poured sulfuric acid on her husband. Yes, I said a woman pours sulfuric acid on her husband. So let's get right over into that video and finish it up for today. But let's get into it.
A shocking case out of Pasco County tonight where a woman is accused of dousing her husband with sulfuric acid. Hello, I'm Keith Kate.
And I'm Paul Lucero. Thank you for joining us.
Question. What made her do it? That's always a good question. What made her dump sulfuric acid? Was it cheating? Something like that? It's never a good reason. It's never a good reason, but there has to be a reason. Well, there doesn't have to be. She could just be a crazy woman. We've got to be honest. She could be a crazy woman. Let's keep going.
Deputies say she barricaded the bedroom door, trapping him inside until deputies rescued him. News Channel 8's Georgia MacArthur joins us live from Tampa General, where the victim is currently being treated. Georgia, any idea how the victim's doing tonight?
Well, Keith and Paula, we are told that the victim who was flown here to Tampa General Hospital is in critical condition. Now, investigators did not reveal a motive today, but through court records, we learned that the victim recently filed for a divorce, and today the couple was supposed to have a divorce hearing in family court. Inside the new Port Richey home, still taped off with a biohazard warning and an orange sticker deeming it unsafe. Detectives say Sean Ying, he poured sulfuric acid on her husband, Robert Hayden, while he slept.
He was suffering burns over most of his body, chemical burns.
Investigators say he told 911 operators she poured it on Hayden to hurt him and that she tried to kill him several times.
It does appear we've been out there numerous times for verbal domestics. It does not appear to be any arrests were made. However, there was some domestic issues at that residence.
Court records show the couple married just last August, and the victim filed for divorce back in March.
He met her online. He met her on the internet, and they were going to get married. And I said, oh my God, how do you just meet somebody on the internet?
In court today, he sobbed uncontrollably as she faced a judge.
Additionally, to make the court aware, after meeting with one of the investigating detectives earlier this morning, there's a very high probability that the charges will soon be upgraded due to the fact that the victim may soon pass.
Absolutely crazy. She's over there bawling her eyes out now after she dumps sulfuric acid on him sleeping. And he filed for divorce. And what I've known, it takes a lot for a man. What I've heard, I don't know because I'm not married, but what I've heard is that it takes a lot for a man to file divorce. It does. Women are the majority of people who file divorces. But he filed for divorce. I wonder what was going on in the household. They mentioned domestic, but they said that she tried to kill him several times. And they've only been married since August. Not the last August, so a year, just over a year now that they've been married. Absolutely crazy. Known and married, matter of fact. Known and married. You got to be careful, y'all. You have to be careful who you pick as a spouse, men and women. because you never know what can happen. We don't know, but like I said, we don't know the facts. We don't know if he was doing something to her or she was doing something to him. All we're hearing is the initial stuff of where she tried to hurt him several times. He filed for divorce. But that is a crazy situation. A crazy situation. Now here's a question. So we got to see sulfuric acid. See, you hear about this kind of stuff in movies, but you wouldn't think real life. So let's see what it does. Pouring sulfuric acid on a person causes severe chemical burns, thermal burns, and that can lead to permanent disfigurement, blindness, permanent organ damage, and death. The concentration of the acid and the amount of time it remains on the skin is the biggest factor in determining the severity of the damage. So you got immediate and painful damage. When concentrated sulfuric acid touches the skin, it causes twofold chemical attack: dehydration and corrosive. I can never say that word right. Corrosive. There it is. Corrosive burns. The acid aggressively pulls water out the skin and underlying tissue. This results in severe, deep, and painful burns known as necrotic burns. And then you got secondary thermal burns. The chemical reaction of the acid mixing with the water in the human tissue releases large amounts of heat, which creates a secondary thermal burn. So you got potential injuries and complications. Golly, it's a lot of things. Long-term consequences. Let me show y'all what I'm looking at so y'all can see what I'm talking about. But it's some of the things that happen because of this is outrageous. So we got the short term, the potential injuries and complications. You got skin, the acid destroys the tissue. Eyes, if the acid reaches the eyes, it can cause severe burns. Respiratory tract, if it inhales the toxic mix of fumes, it causes severe irritation and swelling. Ingestion, systematic effects, and you got long-term permanent scarring and disfigurement. Narrowing of the esophagus, vision loss, chronic respiratory, and emotional psychological trauma. Godly. It's a crazy world. It's a crazy world that we live in. It is truly wild. Now we just got to wait to see what happens to her. What kind of charges she get? If he dies, then that's murder. Can they get it as murder one, saying that it was planned out? Maybe. They maybe can. If they get, especially when they said that she tried to kill him several times. Man, at the end of the day, y'all, just be careful who you decide to marry and spend the rest of your life with, or try to spend the rest of your life with, because you never know. They said they was known and married for a year now. Now she up there bawling her eyes out because she just poured sulfuric acid on you while you're sleeping. Tragic stories all around. But like I say, y'all, tell me what your thoughts are. Tell me if you disagree with any of the things I said. At the end of the day, all this terrible stuff, we just got to review the world together. Good morning. Coming in a little end of the show, but please go back and watch it. We talked about a lot of crazy things. Y'all. Thank you for tuning in now or later. But like I always say, y'all, it's a crazy world we live in, and we got to review the world together. We have to review the world together. But that's the end of the show, everybody. Thank you for watching. Remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And like I said, let me know what your thoughts are on any of the things we always talk about. Any of the things, like I always say, let me know your thoughts, because I don't want to live in no echo chamber. But we got to get Well, we got to hear everybody's opinion and get their thoughts on it. But, yep, that's all right. That's all right. Hey, it's going to be there. We'll be back on Friday and Saturday, like always. I try to keep to the same schedule. Consistency is the key. Thank y'all all for always supporting me. And like always, if you see any videos that you want to share, that you want me to look at, please go ahead and send it to my email. Remember, it is the same thing as hold on, let me go ahead and put the name back up there. Same thing as my name. Oh, wrong. Oh, that one too. acreviewstheworld. Remember, there's a dot after the A and a dot after the C. Thank you again for watching. And you know what? It's almost 8 o'clock. So you know what that time is? It's time to get to work. Time to start my 8 to 5, man. 8 to 5. But thank you for watching. You already know I got to play the outro. But thanks for everything, y'all. Peace.